Well, it's summertime. Come on and let's take a ride on a very big pro wrestling weekend. I can't, I shouldn't really be smiling as much as I am because SummerSlam was such a weird show.
Ooh.
But,
what a weekend we had.
What a whirlwind.
Wasn't just SummerSlam weekend. This was a weekend for professional wrestling. And let's just say from Friday night with Rampage, which we will touch on,
yes,
and TakeOver last night, I am emotionally exhausted in a good way. Like, what a emotional roller coaster these past 3 days have been.
Sure was.
And you know what? We have been good little boys and girls, and we rode out last year, so we deserved this year, and it was so nice. But that doesn't go without its criticisms. We're going to get into it with this show, SummerSlam 2021, in the kind of brand new Allegiant Stadium at Las Vegas.
Brand WWE, spanking new. Literally,
WWE really wanted to pull out all the stops with this SummerSlam, and they wanted to give it kind of like that WrestleMania feel. And they did it because the show looked beautiful off the bat.
It did. It almost it reminded me almost like when I first saw this set for the kickoff show and like where they were entering from, like usually where the Las Vegas Raiders come out of the tunnel for their big games in Allegiant Stadium, brand new facility. Looks absolutely stunning, by the way. But it almost reminded me, I don't know if anybody out here watches like early 90s WWF, like WrestleMania 8 or like what have you, like 92 Royal Rumble. Like it reminded me of one of those sets, like just modernized, you know, with the big giant LED screens and not just like the neon WWF logo in the corner of the building. But
most definitely, I was getting a perfect segue into what our next review is going to be. It gave me Safeco Field vibes.
Yeah.
Total Safeco Field vibes with that with that entranceway. And this was really cool. So bittersweet weekend for me. Unfortunately, I was not able to watch any of these shows live. I was well, you know what? No, let's backtrack. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Yep, here we go.
AEW Rampage. We all saw it coming, but CM Punk has made his grand return to professional wrestling. 7 years ago, he walked out on WWE. He hated wrestling. He didn't want to do it anymore. 7 years later, here we are. He made his grand return in his hometown of Chicago.
Yep.
On AEW's second episode of Rampage. And my God, how do you describe this moment?
It was honestly so surreal because he left I shouldn't even say pro wrestling. Like he quit WWE when I was a junior in high school. I'm sitting here with a bachelor's now. So much time has gone by. It feels like an eternity. And here he is. He's in such a happy place right now. This was absolutely, and they cut right to the chase. Tony Khan cut right to the chase. CM Punk was the first theme song to hit in the United Center, and it was probably the loudest pop I've ever heard in my life.
And if you want to talk about pulling out all the stops, AEW pull out all the stops with CM Punk too. They required the rights to Cult of Personality by Living Color.
They sure did.
It was so surreal to hear him come out to that theme song.
What else was he going to walk out to? That is like that theme song and CM Punk are like synonymous with each other.
They really are now, but it was just
inseparable.
So crazy. Again, to see him come out. You know what? Again, I was the skeptical wrestling fan. And like I said, I had an opening weekend of a show, yay, back to live theater. And I had work the following morning at 7 a.m. I came home very late and I said, I can't go to bed until I see this. I turned it on. I heard that amazing reception and was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, at first I was like, okay, he's back. But when he came out, I was like, he's back. He is back.
Grown men were crying in the audience there. And like CM Punk was tearing up. Like I was listening to his interviews that he had after Rampage, and he was saying like he was surprised he didn't tear up more than he did. Like he really held it together, and he cut such an impassioned speech where he said
surrounded by his family and his friends. His sister was front row.
Yeah,
every single person he went up to hug, I assume, was a close friend.
The one who thought Kevin Nash was dead, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That sister, like, she sounds super cool. But, you know, in any case, CM Punk cuts an impassioned speech, and he basically says, August 13th, 2005, I left professional wrestling, key term professional wrestling, alluding to the fact where he took his talents to Stamford, Connecticut in 2005, and then he was like, I'm back, and he basically calls out the guy we all expected him to call out for All Out. Nice rhyme that I didn't intend on making there, but it's Punk versus Darby Allin in Chicago, Punk's hometown. Perfect first opponent for him. And he basically says there is nothing more dangerous you can do than wrestling CM Punk. And I'm like, the cuffs are off. The cuffs are off, you know, and Punk can say whatever he wants. He did throw his shots at Vince McMahon and WWE here and there, but
he said that he left pro wrestling in 2005 when he left Ring of Honor, and in 2021 he came back to professional wrestling, which means his 434-day reign as WWE champion, he does not consider anymore. He does not consider his pipe bomb canon anymore. All those excellent matches he's had with John Cena and The Undertaker and
The Rock,
The Rock, all those things, everything that he accomplished from 2006 to 2014, he no longer considers canon in his career.
He erased it from his memory.
A clean slate for CM Punk. And I'll admit, I used to be that fan that was mad at CM Punk. I used to think CM Punk was overrated. I used to think I don't get what the hype was. But considering that he's back and he is mentally healthy and he is happy, all for him. I am ready to go on this ride with CM Punk.
Me too. I can't help but smile, honestly, just thinking about this moment over and over again. I've watched that entrance so many times, and just seeing the pure emotion on his face, hearing the emotion from the commentators, it was just magical. That's what I love about professional wrestling. And CM Punk he gives the fans what they wanted, his comeback, but then he's like, ice cream bars on me. And I'm like,
fun fact, he was not joking.
No.
AEW did not pay for those ice cream bars. This was not a publicity stunt. A couple years ago, he partnered up with an ice cream company to make his own ice cream bars. And he planned on doing this from the start. When he signed with AEW, he planned on it. And that was always going to be the thing.
Apparently, those ice cream bars were stupid and delicious. You know, I want one.
God, I want one. I will fly to Chicago.
You know,
I will fly to Chicago just to get an ice cream punk.
If CM
Punk ice cream bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I cannot wait to see this dream match machine do work his magic in AEW. But my friends, our big topic, because this was a long-ass show that we watched on Saturday night, SummerSlam 2021 in Allegiant Stadium, and this isn't like a knock on, like, because CM Punk's return is ginormous, but, you know, obviously, judging from the thumbnail, you know, this is the SummerSlam review, but we wanted to get our quick thoughts on CM Punk out there.
Like I was saying, unfortunately, I did not get to watch anything live this weekend, kind of beating myself up for that, but
it's okay.
We did have a pre-show match, and
we did.
Go ahead, tell us what we got on the pre-show.
It was, so first of all, by the way, if you guys are new here, we're talking about wrestling all the time on this channel every single month. We're going to talk about TakeOver sooner or later, but this is just SummerSlam for right now. Hit that subscribe button as hard as you possibly can so you can keep up to date with all this content. I also talk about movies, as you know. Hit that thumbs up as well if you enjoy these interesting discussions we're going to get on this weird show. But yeah, as you alluded to, you get Big E versus Baron Corbin on the Kickoff Show. Baron Corbin stole Big E's briefcase, and he lost his music. He lost his entrance music.
He can't afford it.
He's walking out
Corbin
there.
Can't afford
He can't afford his theme song. You know, he's clutching the briefcase like it's his sick puppy about to go be euthanized. And
real quick, before we get into this match, I thought it was funny the other week on SmackDown where Corbin's music started to play and then it cut off, kind of like how the soundtrack was like, oh, no. Remember? He can't afford this music. Cut him off now.
No, he cannot afford the King Corbin music anymore. I mean, judging from the fact that there's going to be a King of the Ring tournament, like, he can't. You know, there's going to be a new king. Even though there is a king right now, but I digress. Big E, like, I mentioned Darby Allin's name earlier, and we've talked about him a lot, having no fear. You know who else doesn't have any fear is Big E. That guy's got a big set of cojones, if you ask me. He freaking does his big splash, and he misses it on the apron. Like, yeah, that could not have been comfortable at all. Big E does lock on a stretch muffler at some point in this match, which is a move I haven't seen in a long time. And the fact that he was able to lift up Baron Corbin for that move was really, you know, remarkable, I think. I mean, this was your typical, like, average SmackDown match. You weren't really missing much if you missed this on the Kickoff Show. Big E basically beats Corbin with the big ending. Was there any doubt? He's Mr. Money in the Bank. He's got to win everything now up until he wins the WWE Championship.
The only thing I care about is, did he reclaim the briefcase?
He did. He did reclaim the briefcase. Yeah, he did. But, yeah, there was one point where Big E bounces Baron Corbin off of the contract, which was on the announce table. And that's somehow not a disqualification, which will play into a couple other matches on this show. WWE's really twisting their rules. But, I mean, this is a 2.5-star match. It's a serviceable SmackDown match. But they did show, Tomas, you're going to hate this, but there was a point where Big E was celebrating, and they cut to the piece of shit out in the audience by the name of Logan Paul. And
that's right. He's gonna be on Raw tonight. Fuck.
He was Logan Paul was in attendance at SummerSlam, and there was a couple of points where the camera cuts to Logan Paul and the crowd rains boos down on that piece of shit. And I'm like, thank you.
I want you to think about this for a second. AEW on Friday gave us CM Punk. Tonight on Raw, they're giving us Logan Paul.
Yeah. Who do you think's the superior promotion right now? Who do you think? But in any case, we do have our opening contest. Tomas, take it away. Speaking of Vegas's own.
So this was perfect, honestly. The opening promo, the great shot of the audience, the great shot of the stadium. I didn't think it was going to be that big, but when I saw that setup, it really made me excited. And I think WWE kicked off with the perfect match. Yeah. We have the team of Randy Orton and Riddle, collectively known as RK Bro, challenging AJ Styles and Omos for the Raw Tag Team titles. This has been, other than Roman Reigns, the best storyline in WWE right now.
Agreed.
The way they booked Riddle, the way they somehow made Randy Orton a likable babyface again, despite him lighting a man on fire last year. Despite him torturing Drew McIntyre,
torturing Edge.
Remember in 2020 when he
injuring
told Beth
Edge?
Phoenix? Yeah, telling Beth Phoenix, I'm injuring your husband so he can go home and spend time with you and your kids. You should be thanking me. How does WWE do this? How does they keep making Randy Orton likable? But they did it with this storyline.
You know what it is? It's the effect of the Fiend strikes again. Because Orton was a heel in that feud with the Fiend, and he changed considerably. Why did they release the Fiend for this fucking
the fact that you have more consistency than WWE close.
Anyway, yeah. So Riddle comes out with this snakeskin themed gear, and I'm like, this is such an amazing team. AJ Styles and Omos are such likable baby faces. I know what you're gonna say, that they're heels.
Not.
They're heels in kayfabe, but the crowd is cheering them, and Omos is too funny to be a heel.
They cheer all the heels, and considering they're going up against RK Bro, RK Bro got a huge pop. By the way, that made me happy.
Well, yeah, because number one, it's RK Bro, and it's also in Riddle's hometown. Don't forget that. Riddle is from Las Vegas.
Oh, that's right. I didn't realize Riddle was in Vegas.
Yeah, and Riddle rides down to the ring on his scooter next to Randy Orton, and he's singing the Rev Theory lyrics, and I'm like, this
the fact that Randy Orton and Riddle are coming out together just warms my heart. This is
really does.
Real tag team now.
Randy Orton,
I fucking love it.
Randy Orton even hits a floating bro. Riddle hits the floating bro with the Orton launching assist.
Yeah, there was actual good teamwork in this match by RK Bro.
There was, yeah. Better teamwork than the tag champs, because Omos is still kind of green. But, I mean, he's definitely improving. That's the
main thing I wanted to talk about this match. I think, again, just like WrestleMania, but more in this match, Styles, Riddle, and Orton did a good job of making Omos look good and protecting him.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. And Riddle was selling like crazy for the Giant. Like, it hit the facial expressions. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch this opening contest, guys, because Riddle's facial expressions when Omos was hitting his offense, the stuff of wrestling magic right there.
Also, I feel like Styles is the kind of wrestler that since he's come to WWE, he works at such a consistent pace. But when he wants to pull out the good shit, he pulls out the good shit. And he pulled out the good shit in this match. Mm-hmm. He was just working so smoothly and so flying off all cylinders. You know, it was that kind of match. SummerSlam reminded me why I love AJ Styles so much. Because, you know, when you wrestle on Raw every week, you know, you can't bring out the good stuff all the time. So I feel like Styles saves his good shit for the big moments like this, and he brought it out. He brought it out on Saturday.
AJ was taking Randy Orton power slams as beautifully as I've ever seen AJ Styles take power slams. AJ, there was a point where Riddle had posted Omos on the outside, and then AJ does the thing where he flips off of the apron or whatever he's launching himself off of, and then he hits that reverse neck breaker to Riddle on the outside. Oh man, that was the stuff of legends right there. That was great. That was so great. But then AJ goes for the phenomenal forearm, and Randy basically hits the RKO and gets the 3 count right there. Brand new Raw Tag Team Champions. This was the absolute correct outcome, 100%.
Oh yeah, this was the pop of the night, honestly. When it came to finishes, and this is the feel good moment.
The pop of the night.
It was
Are you sure?
On the short side.
It was
outcome wise.
Right. But it's not pop of the night. We'll get to that. But
it was shorter than I expected. This match was actually pretty on the short side for the opener.
Only went 8 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2 1/4 just because of the length. But they crammed a lot into those 8 minutes, and this was a fun opener.
I gave it a 3.
It's not a bad.
I gave it a 3.
And it feels a little longer. I think but they did a lot in that, and this is a good solid opener.
Yes.
Honestly, that's my only complaint.
Absolutely, this was the right outcome for sure, and what a visual with RK Bro holding the Raw Tag Team titles. I mean, this should be a fun tandem until Randy Orton turns on him on the road to WrestleMania. Ooh, was that too soon?
I was just going to say.
Was that too soon?
I was just going to say, if WWE actually wants to tell a good story, you ride this shit out. You have them hold these tag team titles until January of next year. Mm-hmm. And then you do, if you hold off Randy Orton versus Riddle until WrestleMania, then
that's ideal.
Basically have gone an entire year.
And then if Riddle beats Orton at Mania, new star is made right there.
Yeah, and Randy Orton is the king of long feuds right now. Think about it. Between 2020 and 2021, he's only feuded with The Fiend, Edge, and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
He's the king of long feuds right now.
He really is. I can't wait to see him work his magic with Riddle. But speaking of not working any magic, at least we're ripping off the Band-Aid early. Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie. Fuck this match.
Let me get into the theme of this. Hold on.
All right. Go.
Before we get into it, let's get into the theme of this show, which is, honestly, even by the second matchup, this show was the prime example of everything that WWE does right and everything that WWE does wrong at the same time. Mm-hmm. Because this isn't the end. This is only match 2 of 10. There's going to be a million of examples of where I go, oh my God, Randy Orton and Riddle winning the tag team titles. That's amazing. WWE, you did a good job with that. And then there's going to be some moments where I'm like, WWE, what the fuck are you, what are you all snorting back there? It doesn't make any sense. And
okay.
Something
else wrong with WWE. All right, riddle me this. So they just released a whole bunch of really talented people who are going to do great things elsewhere, I'm sure, due to budget cuts, otherwise known as Vince McMahon greed. But let me just list off some names for you guys. Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman, The Fiend. All of them were released, extremely talented individuals, all to make room for Eva Marie, who, bless her heart, personally, on a personal level, I wish her nothing but the best, but professionally, she sucks.
So when they announced this match, I couldn't help but think they're not going to let her wrestle because that's obviously a bad idea.
They did,
There's got to be some There's got to be some shenanigans in this match. She's wrestling Alexa Bliss. There's got to be some voodoo stuff. There's got to be some Lily stuff. There's got to be some, sorry to bring up a sore subject, but there's got to be some Fiend type stuff in this match, or else why would you be doing this match? And then the match gets underway and it kind of starts that way. And then Eva Marie starts slapping around Lily. So I'm thinking, okay, you saw what Lily did when she got merely touched. What's going to happen when she gets smacked the fuck up?
Say that first sentence one more time. What did Eva Marie do?
She slapped around Lily. Yes, she picked up the doll, Lily, and started smacking her around. So I started thinking, Bliss is going to get upset. Her eyes are going to turn red. The stadium lights are going to turn red. Eva Marie's going to start coughing up black goo like Randy Orton.
Please. Oh
Piper
my
Niven's
God.
going to be like, what the hell's going on? And then Lily's going to just, I don't know, kill Eva Marie, and that's how the match is going to end.
Well,
No.
we got
They
nothing
wrestled
like
this
that.
match as straight as a jagged road on a mountainside hill.
Yeah.
And I'm going to quote Brian Zane because he explained it best. Why would you put Eva Marie in this situation when she clearly has not improved and she is never going to improve?
She never will. She never
No.
will. There were like the crowd saw right through this. There were Eva sucks chants immediately. As soon as the bell rang, Eva sucks. And then later on, the crowd thought they were going to get fiendish, like, you know, like voodoo-isms from Alexa Bliss. They were chanting, "We want Wyatt," as loud as they fucking could.
Which, to quote good mic work, the chants need to be louder and they need to be a lot longer if they want to make an impact.
You regret it yet, Vince? Huh? You regret it?
So no, you make a good point there. And I mentioned this to you in the past. There was a point where Eva Marie was being trained by Brian Kendrick. And I said, if Brian Kendrick can't teach her how to wrestle, then all hope is lost.
Yeah, it gets to a point where she hits Alexa Bliss with her own doll. That has to be a DQ. Eva Marie is using a foreign object. The doll is a foreign object. It is not.
Yeah, I mean, if Tommy Dreamer can hit Bully Ray with the minion, then the doll is a weapon.
But that was a street fight. That was a street fight.
But no, even then, it's still considered a weapon. Just proving your point there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was just like Alexa Bliss, God bless her heart, had to carry this match. But there wasn't really much to carry. It was like asking Alexa Bliss, "Hey, carry this, but it's going to collapse the minute it gets into your hands." So it's not fair to blame Bliss. She's doing all she can with this match. Eva Marie can't wrestle her way out of a paper bag.
No, she can't.
I'm going to defend her.
She can't
just
even.
A little.
She can't even bump for Alexa Bliss. How can you defend her?
I think Eva Marie can be good in other roles. They were kind of teasing that.
Are you sure about
When
that?
they brought in her own heavy, and Eva Marie was basically, "I'm not going to wrestle, but this person is going to wrestle for me.
Piper
and I'm
Niven.
going to take all the credit."
Piper Niven, who is at least 1,000,000 times more talented in the ring than Eva.
And then no, I'm just saying she can do stuff like that. She can be a heel manager. She can be, because if there's one thing Eva Marie is actually good at, is getting heat, just for being herself. So I feel like if WWE actually utilized her in a correct role, like a manager, like this bait and switch type of wrestler, it could work. But you made the mistake of putting her in the fucking ring on the show.
So Nia Jax can also get heat for being Nia Jax, but at least her offense, I can at least believe, hurts.
Exactly.
I would rather watch. Here's a bold statement. I would rather. This probably isn't that much of a bold statement because it's Eva Marie we're talking about. I would rather watch Nia Jax wrestle 100 matches any day of the week over this. Any day of the week.
And, you know, I'm just saying, WWE, you know what Eva Marie's weaknesses are. But at the same time, obviously you can see what her strengths are. So why don't you play towards those strengths? Don't ever have her step in the ring again. Have her be a manager. It blows my mind that Mandy Rose is transitioning into a manager role on NXT, and Mandy Rose can wrestle circles around Eva Marie, but they're letting Eva Marie get in the ring in front of 50,000 people on
at SummerSlam on your second biggest show of the year. Like,
and good. I think it was Good mic work who brought up a really good point. Why is Eva Marie on this show over Finn Balor and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and King Nakamura?
Starting to see our point, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
there you go.
Which I know we're preaching to the choir. I can't think of one person that likes Eva Marie as a wrestler. No, but the finish comes and it's terrible and awkward and
Alexa,
awful.
Essentially what happens is Alexa misses the Twisted Bliss. Sorry to cut you off, but she pins her with a DDT that Eva doesn't even sell.
It looked like shit, and it's not Bliss's fault.
No, Alexa did all she could, but -2 stars for me. This was an awful match. It was quite the horror show, if we can play off of the pun for Extreme Rules. How Piper Niven was the one on the outside, sickening.
Again,
Sickening.
If WWE wanted to do some voodoo type shit to protect Eva Marie and not let her fucking lift a finger in the ring, then this match would have gotten a pass for me. But you let her wrestle, and that was your mistake.
At least it was kept short. It was kept short. But,
not short enough. Not short enough.
Should have only been 2 minutes. Should have only been 2 minutes instead of like what, 4? What do they get? Like 4 minutes?
God, it felt like an eternity.
God,
when I realized they were wrestling this match straight,
and then,
which, believe it or not, this is not the last time we're going to be making this criticism on this show. This was fucking awful.
It was bad.
But I will say now, this match was worse than that other match that we're going to get into.
It really was. It really was.
Yeah.
But Byron Saxton, amazingly, with one of the calls of the night, when he says, hey, Piper Niven does it better than Eva. That really says it all.
Anybody
really
can do
says it all.
Piper Niven can just stand there and be better than Eva
That's
Marie.
no contest. Piper Niven could just have the Orange Cassidy gimmick going on the outside, and they would still cheer her.
Now I'm just imagining her wearing the jean jacket she always wears and just wearing the sunglasses, and it works perfectly.
You're welcome for putting that idea in your head, viewers. But let's get
away from this.
Yes, yeah. So we cut backstage. Actually, RK Bro is getting interviewed by Mario Lopez, who has way more personality than any current WWE interviewer right now. And
which I had no idea he was a fan. I was very happy to see him wearing a Heart Foundation shirt.
Yeah, he's an old school fan, like both of us here, and
love it.
You know, and RK Bro basically says, yeah, Randy, Riddle rather. He says, Randy, I'm gonna give you the celebration you deserve tomorrow night on Raw, bro. I'm still working on it, but I don't want it to sound too much like Rob Van Dam for everybody, but
when I tune into Raw after this, it should be interesting. People are saying this could be really, really funny. Whatever Riddle has planned.
I hope it's Festival of Friendship level funny, but without
Orton,
not
as depressing at the end.
Without Orton turning on him, of course. But speaking of titles, we do see Sheamus defending the United States Championship, and I honestly forgot that he was the champion at this point. He's going up against the Damien Priest, who's rocking some awesome, cool Americana style gear. This was
Can I just say,
go ahead.
I'm happy that Priest wasn't fighting Miz or Morrison on this show. So tired of that.
I'm so happy there weren't any zombies on this show.
Oh dear God. I feel like this is Priest's first pay-per-view appearance since that atrocity.
Yeah.
But I was looking forward to this match because I knew this was going to be the Smash Mouth match of the night.
It was.
These guys went in here and they beat the ever-living shit out of each other.
They did.
I love Sheamus. I did not ever think in 2021 I'd be saying I love Sheamus, but I do.
Sheamus with the mask on his face, like the gimmick is he broke his nose. I don't really think that's a gimmick though. Actually, I think he legitimately broke his nose on a.
He broke his nose for like a minute, but obviously being a heel, you got to milk that injury. Right. Cowboy Bob Orton's arm is still broken.
Yeah, no, it probably always will be broken. So there's an interesting shower thought for everybody. Is Cowboy Bob Orton's arm ever gonna heal? But
no.
Sheamus does hit an Irish curse, and he's posing cocky as Damien Priest is draped over his leg, and I'm like, yeah, freaking, I love Sheamus. He's come such a long way.
Sheamus was really playing to the crowd during this match. He was having a little bit too much fun. He does that. He goes for 10 beats of the Baldrin.
Yeah.
In the middle of the count, he stops and he goes, no, like, you guys will not count along with me.
You're not singing along this time. Not doing it. Yeah, and Sheamus was having way too much fun out there. You could tell, for sure. I mean, like, I don't know if I agree with this, but I've read interviews where Sheamus was saying that he feels like he's on the run of his career right now with the U.S. title. And I'm like, I mean, if you were on pay-per-view every month, I would agree with you, but
he's on the run of his career, period.
Right.
Because I remember a time, I think this was even 2012, where people did not like Sheamus. They were saying that he's shoved down our throats, he's not good, all this stuff.
Well, that's exactly it. He was babyface Sheamus. Like, it just didn't fit with him saying, fella! And he was a babyface, you know?
Yeah, they were trying to have him be top face. It wasn't working. Just ever since last year, Sheamus has really turned it up, and he has been honestly one of the best workers on the roster. And it really showed in this match tonight.
And Damien Priest really showed that he can be a badass babyface as well. I mean, he's hitting a heel kick off the top rope for 2. It was an awesome, awesome thing. Sheamus was hitting a sick Alabama slam, a headbutt with the mask. But then Sheamus goes for a brogue kick. Damien Priest hits one of his own. This match gets bonus points just for Damien Priest hitting a brogue kick, because I always love that trope of stealing someone else's finisher. I love that. Love that so much. Then he hits a South of Heaven. Nice false finish there. Really like that.
With hot take right now, that should be his finisher.
South of Heaven? Was... Oh, it should be his finisher.
That should be his finisher.
Gotcha. I thought you said it
should be his finisher.
I thought you said it shouldn't be his finisher.
No,
it's not, though.
That should be his finisher. I'm going to get in a little rant about his finisher at the end of this match, but continue.
Yeah, but Sheamus, like, there was a beautiful point. Priest was going for it looks like a disaster kick almost that he was going for. Sheamus hits him with a bicycle knee in midair, and I'm like, beautiful visual. That should have been the finish.
That was
honestly
stiff as fuck right
Priest
there.
Kicked out somehow. I mean, Sheamus was locking in a heel hook, and then Damian Priest leading into the finish. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, when I saw the heel hook, I thought, wow, Sheamus really did learn from his 2012 feud with Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was an amazing callback to their feud. And it reminded me of their 2 out of 3 falls match from Extreme Rules.
Yes. No, I was just going to say the only thing missing from Sheamus's heel character right now is him arguing with the ref every 5 seconds. Like, he's saying, I have till 5.
Yeah.
Like Bryan Danielson would always do. But Damian Priest tears Sheamus's mask off. Sheamus is like terrified. Then Priest goes into a big flurry, and then he finally hits the Reckoning, aka the Crossroads, for the 3 count. So, was that what you were going at? Was that what you were going at?
So, 2 things. Number 1, again, it's the Crossroads.
It is.
Something a little more original, like South Side of Heaven, would be better for him, and it's better to his gimmick. It's back to his roots. He's Puerto Rican. Also, hot tape. I liked it better when they called it Hit the Lights.
That's true. Yeah.
I like that. A Reckoning just sounds a little too generic to me.
Well, it's also
Priest's gimmick is a rock star. So I feel like Hit the Lights makes a lot more sense.
He's a rock star, like, known as an archer. You know, like he's, you know.
He's a Puerto Rican rock star with an
imaginary bow and arrow. Like,
Priest really does it all.
Priest is like the Mad Libs of wrestling gimmicks right now at WWE. You know, he's like, okay, he's a rock star who's Puerto Rican, but he also has the Robin Hood swagger. You know,
yes,
it's so interesting.
But, nonetheless, Priest is the new United States champion.
So happy.
This was the right call.
So
Sheamus
happy for him.
He had a fantastic run with the title, won it back at WrestleMania. They have protected Sheamus pretty well. I think it was fine for him to drop the title, considering Priest's momentum from WrestleMania, getting all that mainstream attention, teaming with Bad Bunny. I think this was the perfect opportunity. Now you do something with Priest. It's time to strap the rocket on this guy.
Yeah, and I still don't think he's lost one-on-one on the main roster, if I remember right.
No, I don't think
I don't think so. But yeah, this was a really good Haas fight. I gave this 3 1/4. It was really stiff. These guys were laying it into each other. The bicycle knee by Sheamus was beautiful, but it was still bowling shoe ugly. But you know, that's kind of what you get at with this match. I really enjoyed it. I do think that the beginning part was a little bit slowish when Sheamus had the heat, but you know, he's a heel and like he was still entertaining enough, like working over the crowd. So with that being said, I mean, the title matches just keep on coming. The Usos are defending the SmackDown tag team titles.
I almost forgot about this match. I was ready to jump into
that match. That match.
But no, we got Usos and Mysterio, and you know what? Kind of just jumping right into it, I like their Money in the Bank match more, and this match just felt kind of standard. Nothing wrong. It was a good match. It just felt kind of standard.
And that's what's so frustrating about this match right here, because the Money in the Bank match was on the kickoff, and that match was better. Like,
you know, you could put it on. It was the first show back with fans, and the crowd was really jacked for that show. And this was the first match we saw. You could put it on that, but I do agree with you.
That.
You know, this is the big match. it's the rematch, but it's in the middle of the show. The fans
Yes.
might be getting a little tired at this point.
Well, I mean,
there was nothing wrong with this match.
No, they
Fine,
were still
no.
they were still singing the Uso theme song. I think so. They were singing the "Down Since Day One" ish as they were coming out, which was awesome. I should also note that the announcers so aptly pointed out, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, the 1-year anniversary of Dominic's debut at SummerSlam last year against Seth Rollins. And this is the biggest crowd he's wrestled in front of so far, easily.
He went from debuting at the Thunderdome to wrestling with his dad in front of 50,000 people.
Take it all in, buddy. Take it all in, because he deserved
and
for all that work.
16th, had to bring this up, the 16-year anniversary of when he was put on the line in a custody and Dominic match between Ray and his real father, Eddie.
Where the fuck was Vicky?
I will never let people forget Eddie is Dominic's real father.
Yeah. And Dominic was hitting his... Well, this is, like, funny enough. I wrote down in my notes as I was watching this. Dom with the Three Amigos, tribute to his biological father.
Yeah.
And then he goes for the frog splash, and then the Usos spoil my fun by making him do a nasty spill on the outside. But, you know...
Oh my god! Yeah, I honestly really have nothing to say about this match. It was your standard tag team match. Great work by Usos and Mysterios.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there was nothing really wrong with the match. It was a pretty traditional ending. I mean, super kick sandwich, as Pat McAfee called it, and then the Usos splashed to Rey Mysterio after he got the hot tag.
Oh, was this the Usos match where Pat McAfee? I think Jay hit an uppercut on Ray. And Pat McAfee said, "You could hear that in Reno."
Yep. It was. I love Pat McAfee. Please. Oh my God. This is like Pat McAfee kind of off topic. I'm just hoping that Adam Cole doesn't leave and he goes to SmackDown so he can actually feud with Pat McAfee. But
and debut as Michael.
No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. But I mean, this is a 3-star match for sure. I mean, it's your typical good work.
2 3/4 for me.
Yeah.
The finish did come, that super kick sandwich, and then honestly, Samoan shot. Ray gets pinned. People have been teasing there has been some animosity between Ray and Dominic, and they're starting to wonder, when's Dominic going to turn on his dad?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I like these guys as a team, but like, I mean, you're right. I mean, the Ray and Dominic match has to happen at some point soon before Ray hangs it up.
I feel like it's got to happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's the place to do it, and then Ray can put his son over as he rides off into the sunset.
Though. Dominic is good. He's getting better, but don't turn him heel and don't split him from his dad until he's 100% ready.
Right.
I'm scared the minute you split him off from his dad and have him do his own thing, it's sink or swim for him.
Yeah, because Dominic is still, he's still.
I don't think he's ready to take the life jacket off yet.
No, but I mean, he's still a solid worker for having a life jacket on him. So, but before I let you introduce this next match, I do have to point out that we do hear from Rick Boogs for a short spell, and he introduces your
No. You mean we heard from Rick
Boogs.
Love that guy.
Yeah, but he introduces our brand new Intercontinental Champion who won it, I think, like 8 nights ago at the time of SummerSlam itself.
Yes.
King Nakamura, and I'm like, wait, this bloke doesn't have a match on this show.
Yeah, I was wondering, I'm like, are we gonna get like an impromptu match? Nope, he was just out there to rock out. He literally
he comes out and makes his entrance for no reason. But I will say that Pat McAfee was super entertaining, always marking out for Nakamura, and a nice little hidden Easter egg as they're all rocking out. You can just see Michael Cole sitting there in the background, just shaking his head.
He's bringing his son Adam to take care of all this nonsense that's going on SmackDown.
We're not doing that.
You know what? Perfect time to bring this up. They were advertising NXT TakeOver, and then I think they said like, "Oh, Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole," and they went back to commentators like, "Oh, Pat McAfee and I'm Michael Cole." I'm like, they're teasing it. He's gonna debut as Michael's son.
I mean, if I were Adam Cole, I would like just take my ball to AEW right then and there if that was the proposed storyline. But oh boy, here we are.
Okay,
big one.
Fun story about this match. So Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks
which
for the
was
SmackDown
advertised.
Women's Championship. It was advertised all the way up until this weekend. Belair makes her entrance, and then Greg Hamilton says Sasha Banks will not be able to compete.
And
I stood up
yeah,
at 1 a.m. and said, "What the fuck?" Here's the thing: I didn't know about the rumors. I had no idea that Banks might not be on the show. Apparently, everybody was talking about it. Everyone was like speculating. They were wondering if they were going to change the match on SmackDown. I had no clue that was going on. So when they said that, imagine my shock.
Yeah, so WWE.
I was like, "What the fuck do you mean she's not here?"
Essentially, was false advertising for all.
No. Because what did they say on every show? Card subject to change.
Right, but they knew that Sasha wouldn't be there from what I heard. Like, I don't know if it was like a breakthrough COVID case or what the deal was, but I was writing down my excitement in my notes. I was like, Mania rematch. Sasha is properly a heel again. Welcome back from your Mandalorian hiatus, you know. And
not gonna lie, other than Cena and Reigns, this was the match I was excited for. So to hear it get changed at the last second was just like, and then he said, instead, Bianca Belair will be facing Carmella, and I was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me!"
And this is where I got really upset because Greg Hamilton gets on the mic. He says Sasha's unable to compete. The crowd immediately starts chanting for Becky Lynch, and then he announces Carmella, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" This is why they like AEW. This is why AEW is a superior promotion for me right now.
Here's a few things. Number one, nothing against Mella.
No.
Absolutely nothing against her. I think she's extremely underrated.
I mean,
she's a heat magnet.
I mean,
so the fact that they brought her out there, instant heat.
You know,
good call. It's not like they brought out, I don't know, a babyface.
Aside from the fact that, hold on a second. Aside from the fact that Carmella's a homewrecker, like I've got nothing against Carmella. So
personal, I think she's underrated. She's a heat magnet. She, it's not like they brought out, I don't know, Asuka, just for her to get booed. It's not like they did anything like that.
No.
They brought out a heel to take the heat. When she came out, they announced and everything. Belair said she was going to fight, and that's when it started creeping in the back of my mind. This match isn't going to happen.
And then
there's no way.
Because
here's the thing. Also, because Bayley got injured, and they replaced her with Mella. They had this match a few times, so I'm just thinking, I'm like, because here, I heard the rumors. But, we've heard the rumors all year about Becky Lynch. So she was in the back of my mind, and I was thinking, they're not going to do this match. There's no way.
What did they do? I
started getting Royal Rumble 2019 vibes. No, that was Lana, never mind. But Becky Lynch came out to take the place. We get Becky Lynch.
We do. There she is. The mother is back in town. The man is back in town.
Really good.
Yeah.
She looks good.
And the crowd I was so happy to see her. I heard that first tone of her music and I jumped up out of my chair. I was like, yes, Becky, and she comes out, she beats she looks at Bianca and she's like, I'll be right back. And then she beats the ever-loving fuck out of Carmella on the outside. And then she gets on the mic. And here's where I have somewhat of an issue with this whole ordeal. She's like, what do you say the EST and the man tear the house down here in Vegas or something like that? I can't do a Becky impression, but Bianca says yes. They ring the bell. Becky literally hits 2 moves on Bianca and pins her to become the SmackDown Women's Champion. What?
Okay, so that's when my shock came in. When the match got announced, I was like, cool. We don't get Sasha Banks, but we're getting a never-before-seen match. We're getting it with someone we haven't seen in a year and a half, someone that is adored by the fans. People have been calling her the female Stone Cold Steve Austin, the most over woman in history. Yes, I said it. The most over woman in wrestling history. We're going to get this match right now. And I had a feeling, you know what? I think Becky Lynch is going to take the title. I don't think they're going to bring her and have her lose on her first, outing.
Well, my
issue was with that. First of all,
25
Cole,
seconds.
Cole, she just came back. How do you know that her finisher is called the Manhandle Slam? That's a cool name. That's a really cool name. But she just came back. How do you know it's called that?
It's a rock bottom. And she calls it the Manhandle Slam.
How do you know that she calls it that move? She just came back. It's a cool move. I think Becky Lynch did need a slam finish because you can't rely on the disarm her forever. That's my nitpick. And then I was disappointed that we didn't get a match out of this. I'm not even mad that Becky Lynch won the title.
You're telling me.
I'm just mad that it was, people are calling it a squash. If you had all this time set aside for Belair and Banks, why would you throw that all out just to get this shocker moment?
Right. I mean, listen, I have to formulate all of my thoughts about this. There's a lot to unpack with Becky Lynch.
Hey, we don't have a match to talk about, so we might as well.
Yeah. So listen, this was obviously I love this return. I love Becky Lynch. She's my favorite woman on the roster, if not my favorite worker, period, on the whole roster. But I mean, number one, why did they have to beat around the bush with Carmella? Like, I don't know if that was heat. Like to get heat. It was just to get the heat.
Fake the fans out.
But
fake
like
the fans out, because you know what? Good mic work made a really good point.
That would be like,
if they would have said Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair is going to have a surprise opponent, we would have known it was Becky Lynch.
Well,
I liked the fake out.
But here's the thing, though. AEW literally did exactly that the night before, because they didn't explicitly say. I mean, they said, like, right at the top of Rampage, they were like, oh, the biggest announcement in AEW history. And we know this is CM Punk, but the guy still got a massive ovation when he came out.
But I don't necessarily see anything wrong with the fake out, because for a half second, I was thinking when Carmella came out, I was like, really? We're going to get this match again? It wasn't until she got into the ring, I realized, no, this ain't happening. I don't mind the fake out. It's just that, okay, everything was perfect until she beat Bianca Belair in 25 seconds. Do you remember the hype Bianca Belair had going into WrestleMania? This woman made history going into WrestleMania. She made history at WrestleMania. She has been one of the most protected women on the roster right now. And there's nothing wrong with her taking the loss. But she took the loss
in 25 seconds.
And you know what else makes me mad? I hate it when wrestlers take a goddamn finish and then they're up on their feet 10 seconds later. If you're able to get on your feet that fast, then why did you get pinned?
Yeah, Bianca Belair should not, I agree with a lot of my my Twitter friends who also watch wrestling like I do. Like, a lot of them were pissed that Bianca was buried by the lunatic sitting in gorilla position. Apparently, like, the reason why this match went so short was a Vince McMahon call. I get where he's coming from. This is all about Becky Lynch's return, but you can't, honestly give us a solid match with Bianca. You could have gotten a good 10 minutes out of these two.
Exactly. Again, the setup was perfect. The environment was perfect. The moment was perfect. But the minute Becky Lynch pinned her so damn fast, I was shocked. I was on my knees in this very room right now, just looking at the screen, just like, what?
Bianca should not be considered the honky tonk man to Becky Lynch's Ultimate Warrior. Never.
Perfect example.
Never. Remember, SummerSlam 1988, first ever SummerSlam. Honky Tonk Man was on top of the world, longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, I think, in history, still to this day. Someone get the honkometer out and see if I'm wrong about that. But Ultimate Warrior comes out as a mystery opponent, because it was gonna be Brutus Beefcake originally, but the think was Honky Tonk Man's mystery opponent. Ultimate Warrior beats him in 15 seconds and takes the title from him just like that. But
yeah, you don't do again. I agree with everything you just said. And when I'm not mad that Becky Lynch won the title. I didn't mark out. I was just so shocked. I was like, you knew it was going to lead to Becky Lynch winning the championship. It makes you wonder if Sasha Banks was going to win the championship if she was here, because a lot of people were predicting that.
Yeah.
And then after the match was over, and first of all, I wanted to cry for Bianca, seeing her sit on the ramp, just looking so defeated. Because I immediately flashed back to WrestleMania. I was like, she was on top of the world. And this isn't the end for Bianca Belair. She's going to win 100 championships before she retires.
Right.
But you know what? I felt like that was a shoot. I feel like Bianca Belair was legitimately embarrassed. And I felt so bad for her.
I did too. And honestly, again, I'm not upset Becky won the title in the slightest, but here is my message to Vince. Do not turn Becky heel. Don't you do it.
Here's my message to Vince. It makes sense for her to be a heel if they go that route.
But here's the thing. Listen to me here. So Becky Lynch, back 3 years ago, when she became the man, the reason why is because Vince wanted to shoehorn a heel turn for her to go up against Charlotte Flair, but the crowd was not having it. All right? The crowd was not having it, and Becky became the man after that, and her star power... Exactly. So pretend like Charlotte and Becky are where my hands are in terms of like, star power here. This is Charlotte. Becky becomes the man. She turns babyface. Pew! She goes all the way up here. And she is the top babyface probably in the entire promotion throughout 2019. So if the idea is to turn her heel, this is exactly what did WWE in 2001 when they turned Stone Cold heel at WrestleMania 17. His star power was up here. But like, who else do you have down here? Like, you don't have anyone nearly on Becky Lynch's level right now in terms of stardom. So turning her heel would be an idiotic move for business.
I don't think it would be an idiotic move. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying if it does happen, it makes sense. And you also have to remember, who is Becky Lynch married to? One of the biggest pieces of shit in pro wrestling right now, in Seth Rollins.
No. Take Seth Rollins out of the equation. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're so happy together personally, but on television, these two should be kept as far away from each other as humanly possible because people fucking despise Seth Rollins and his drip. Becky Lynch, on the other hand, who just gave birth to a beautiful daughter, like, they love her. She is on top of the world right now in terms of likability.
But after SummerSlam, a lot of the fans are not happy. So if you see that kind of anger going towards her, why not capitalize on that?
Lean into,
if the fans do kind of turn on her, then her staying as a babyface is going to make her look dumb.
How do you know they're going to turn on her though?
They already are.
I don't think
they already are. The internet is very pissed off. They're very pissed off
because they buried Bianca Belair. Like, this has nothing to do with Becky here. They're mad because...
what do fans do? They don't know where to direct their anger. So they might direct their anger towards Becky Lynch. And if they do direct their anger towards Becky Lynch can take that all in like a sponge.
Here's my solution.
Brief time where she was heel, she handled it very well.
Here's my solution. You can actually direct your anger at the lunatic sitting in the chair. This is not Becky Lynch's fault.
But on TV, how do you do that? Vince is not on TV. They cannot boo Vince McMahon because he is not there. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying over the years, look at Seth Rollins, look at John Cena, look at The Rock, look at any other top babyface, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. The fans are going to direct their anger towards the source, which happens to be, Brock Lesnar's never on TV. Roman Reigns is getting shoved down our throats. John Cena has his 5 moves of doom. Becky Lynch buried Bianca Belair. And they're going to, I'm not saying that's the case, but they are going to direct their anger towards Becky Lynch.
Well,
Drew McIntyre never loses on TV, even though there's no crowd right there. We're getting tired of it. Seth Rollins is boring in the ring. That is not true. But in 2019, the fans were starting to think that. I'm just saying, if they go in that direction, and if the fans do start to turn on Becky Lynch, why not take advantage of that? It's like Hollywood Rock.
I think it's a different situation, man. I don't know, but we'll just have to see where this goes.
And here's the thing: if Becky Lynch were to turn heel, who's to say 6 months later the fans will have calmed down and she can go right back to being a babyface? Stone Cold Steve Austin did it, and I know that was not a very successful heel turn.
No,
Daniel Bryan turned face again back in less than a year. It can be an experimental run, and knowing how inconsistent WWE is, and they can snap their fingers and hit the reset button 6 months after the fact.
I'm not saying that's not what they're going to do. I'm just saying that they shouldn't do it because with Becky Lynch's star power and how much of a hero she is to people, like.
But right now, they're pissed at her.
Well,
and that's not her fault.
So,
it's not her fault, but the fans are going to direct that anger towards her. Unfortunately, it's a shitty part of fucking wrestling fans. They fucking suck. I don't agree with them.
I'm so happy that Becky is the champion right now, regardless. Like, I'm not going to direct my anger at this to Becky. I'm going to direct my anger instead to the lunatic running everything. And like,
and
to everybody,
totally fine,
and
but unfortunately,
let me finish. To everybody who is like still cheering Vince McMahon, still singing his lyrics and bowing down to him like he's a genius right now, don't do it anymore, because he's obviously not a genius right now. He's a lunatic. Like, come on. You know, that's how you fix it.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your points, and I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying I'm turning on Becky Lynch. I'm just saying, unfortunately, the masses, they might do that. We're going to have to wait until SmackDown. We're going to have to see what her reception is like on SmackDown. I'm not saying it's going to be so bad they're going to be booing her out of the building. I'm just saying you might get some angry fans. And we are going to have that angry fan base. It's just an idea. Who knows what WWE is going to do with this going forward?
We'll see. I mean, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that she is not going to
maybe Bianca Belair turns heel. That's a possibility.
I mean, that's like the only other option, but like, I mean, you got to bring Sasha back because she's the top heel on SmackDown right now.
But while she's out right now, it looks like it's going to be Belair and Lynch going forward into the fall. We're going to have to see, because honestly, this is a situation where I don't want to see a babyface feud between these two. Someone's got to be a heel.
Yeah, but we'll see where it goes. Happy Becky's the champion right now. I know I just ranted everybody dry, but we got an interesting match to talk about here. Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. 3MB colliding. 7 years in the making.
And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't remember a goddamn thing from this match. It was so forgettable.
It really was. It was so disappointing. And God, I mean, I know I've shit on Jinder Mahal so much, especially when he was the WWE champion, but like Drew McIntyre has been saying in interviews that Jinder's worked so hard for this match and he wants to give him like a solid match at SummerSlam. They're giving 5 minutes. They're giving 5 minutes.
And here's the thing. This is nothing against McIntyre or Mahal.
No.
This was just a shitty storyline from day fucking one.
Yeah, dude, do you want to describe the storyline?
Book this feud.
Describe the storyline for everybody.
So
please.
You have Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, who are both former WWE champions. God. You know what else they were? They used to be in a jobber faction called the 3-Man Band, and they used to be best friends. Mahal gets released. Mahal and McIntyre both get released. McIntyre does his McIntyre thing that he hasn't shut up about all year. He comes back. He wins the WWE Championship. Jinder Mahal also won the WWE Championship, but McIntyre overshadows Mahal. Mahal can come in here and make all these claims saying, you used to be my friend. I'm a former WWE champion. How come you're getting the WrestleMania main events? I'm the modern day Maharaja. All this great stuff they could have done. They could have had great promos against each other. This could have been a personal feud. But what are they fighting over? A fucking sword.
Angela the Sword.
Which I'm not making fun of. That was a very beautiful story Drew McIntyre told about his mom. And yeah. That's so beautiful that he dedicated that to his mom. But to have a feud revolve around a weapon that you cannot use in wrestling.
No, and like it's so like you said, the match really wasn't anything too spectacular.
I don't remember anything from the match.
Like Drew pretty much dominated this thing. This is like a glorified squash if you really think about it. Drew,
also, for those keeping score at home, Shanky and Veer are banned from ringside. Not like that was ever going to make a difference. They're the worst henchmen in history.
Who?
Shanky and Veer.
Oh, right. Jinder's henchmen, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, the worst henchmen in history. They have not beaten up anybody, and they just stand there looking like giant, awkward wallflowers.
They're certainly not the Singh brothers.
At least the Singh brothers could distract people.
At least the Singh brothers could get tossed all over ringside by Randy Orton. Like, God. You can't even do that. Like, and Randy Orton took too much relish in hurting those poor guys. But Drew, I mean, speaking of suplexes, Drew is launching Jinder from corner to corner with belly to belly, and then he hits a future shock, and then 3-2-1 hits the Claymore, gets the 1-2-3 in like under 5 minutes. I
give it a star.
I'm gonna pull a Chris and give this a 2 because I respect Drew as a worker, and like
star and a half.
Not that I don't respect Jinder. I think he's actually improved ever since losing the championship that he should never have won in the first place. But
Jinder Mahal can be a very, very, very solid mid-carder, and it's not that hard to do with him. but for some reason WWE is like, oh, your reign as WWE champion is over. Back to jobber status you go.
Well,
why not? Jinder Mahal could be a solid. He was the United States champion. They had him drop it in a week.
Because
why don't you do something like that with him again?
Because they kind of put the WWE Championship on him too early, and they tried to shoehorn the JBL thing onto him, but it just didn't work because he was losing everything. You know?
They could have him be a solid mid carder, but WWE swears like that's rocket science to them.
Right? You know,
it's not hard.
The crowd
a little more personal.
The crowd really didn't give a shit about this match, especially after all the Becky Lynch stuff that came out before that. And it's a damn shame because, like you said, I totally agree. These two could have had such a personal feud, such a personal, and I don't think this feud's over by any stretch of the imagination.
Unfortunately.
I do think we're getting a rematch at Extreme Rules in what sounds like a sword on a pole match, bro.
Exactly, because they can't do anything fun like a street fight or a false count anywhere match. No, they got to do a match that's going to have 0 weapons, nothing fun, and just they're going to be fighting over a sword. And do I need to remind you, you can't stab someone with a sword in wrestling.
No, and Drew was swinging the sword at Jinder's henchmen after they came out to freaking take him to the back. Why?
God.
God,
please tell me something good is next. Is Edge and Rollins next?
It's Nikki A.S.H defending the.
Oh my god! Okay, time to explain the embarrassing moment of the night for me.
Okay, yeah. Here, Raw Women's Championship match, triple threat. Nikki A.S.H is defending the title against Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. Take it away.
Okay, so like I said, I had a very long weekend and a very late weekend. I told myself, I swore to myself, I don't care if I'm up till 4 a.m. I am watching SummerSlam the minute I get home from my show. So I'm watching the show and I get to this match and I'm like, you know what? I think after this match, I'm going to call it a night, finish the rest of the morning. The match starts. I'm like, okay, it's a match. 5 minutes in, I don't remember anything. I wake up to a Peacock commercial and I go, oh, fuck. And I take the remote and I rewind it a couple minutes and I rewound it right at the finish. And I was like, fuck. So I don't know what the hell happened in this match. I know the beginning and I know who won and I know how they won.
Yeah, well,
that's it.
I can go through all my play-by-play then. So Nikki A.S.H was apparently getting booed a lot at the house shows, which God bless her heart. She worked so hard to get this gimmick approved.
We do not boo Nikki A.S.H in this household.
No, we don't.
Stand Nikki A.S.H in this household, and you fucking leave her alone. She is a beautiful soul that needs to be protected at all costs. She has more charisma than half of the roster.
Thank God.
Took this gimmick and fucking ran with it. You do not boo her. It is not her fucking fault.
Thank God
That's my Nikki A.S.H rant for the night.
Thank God I heard a lot of cheers from this Las Vegas crowd when Nikki A.S.H made her entrance, which, yeah, I'm not calling her Nikki A.S.H, which is like what everybody else is calling her. That's stupid.
We stand Nikki A.S.H in this household.
Nikki A.S.H sounds so much cooler. Why can't they just...
We stand her.
I agree. But, I mean, Nikki was, there were a couple of times where Rhea Ripley went for the Riptide. Nikki A.S.H did 2 different beautiful counters out of the Riptide, one of which was a tornado DDT, and Rhea Ripley gets a nasty landing to the floor. I mean, Rhea Ripley was good in this match also, as she usually is, but she wasn't really, lighting the world on fire, I would say.
It wasn't the focal point of the match, it sounds like.
No, it was all about, getting Charlotte Flair another world title reign, but beside the point, because we got to watch her win it at least a dozen more times after this. But, I mean, there was a point where Charlotte had Nikki A.S.H up for a fall-away slam, and Rhea Ripley goes behind Charlotte and gives her a German suplex as Nikki A.S.H flies over Charlotte in the fall-away slam, which was really impressive. I really enjoyed that.
Also, I did see one other replay. Did Charlotte Flair do a fucking spiral tap?
She did.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Nikki A.S.H and this is another big highlight of this match for sure. So, or if not the highlight, Nikki A.S.H and Rhea Ripley were at ringside fighting it out. Charlotte hits that corkscrew spiral tap off the top to the outside, and poor Nikki A.S.H is sandwiched in between Flair and the barricade. Nasty landing. It looks like it hurt. Looks like it really hurt. But Charlotte, give her credit, I mean, she performs that move really well, and she pulls it off. But, I I mean, in any case, Rhea does lock in that reverse cloverleaf a couple of times. Charlotte locks in a figure 8 on Rhea, and Nikki A.S.H breaks it up, and Rhea's selling in this match was out of this world. Another great counter out of the Riptide, as I alluded to. But then Charlotte pretty much locks Nikki A.S.H in the figure 8 and makes her tap out. Makes her feel like Nikki A.S.H has no choice. But are you sick of Charlotte yet?
So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Charlotte Flair won the title for Money in the Bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nikki won the Money in the Bank briefcase at that pay-per-view, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So you mean to tell me she cashed in the next night on Raw to an amazing pop just to go on and lose to Charlotte Flair the next week, and lose to Rhea Ripley the next week, and then fucking lose again just to fucking drop title back to Charlotte Flair?
Exactly.
What the fuck, WWE? Why did you put the title on her to begin with? I was looking forward to this title reign.
Because you have to give Charlotte 27 women's title reigns before she retires.
I get it, but this one made me especially upset just because we were getting something different. Nikki 100% deserved this title, and I feel like WWE just gave up on her before even giving her a proper chance.
Yeah. They really did.
You know what I'm fucking tired of?
Charlotte.
Stop pinning your champion on TV. Stop pinning your champion on TV.
It just makes them look weak. It just makes them look stupid.
It does. And it's just like, why have you turned a championship into a bad luck charm for so many wrestlers? The championship is supposed to mean you're the best. If you're the WWE champion, that means you're the best on Raw. If you're the Raw Women's Champion, that means you're the best woman on Raw. If you're the United States Champion, that means you're the best mid-carder on Raw. So how come when you put the title on these people, they lose match after match after match after match because you have no other creative way to come up with number one contenders?
And AEW
just to have them drop the title.
This is another thing AEW does better is their fucking rankings. Wins and losses matter in AEW. But
it's
besides
just so frustrating. I was so annoyed. And you know what? I might be slightly more annoyed at this than the SmackDown Women's title.
Yeah, me too. Because at least, I was happy to see Becky win the championship, aside from Charlotte, for the umpteenth millionth time. I'm sick of it at this point. But
WWE, you better start making some more titles for women or more accomplishments for women, because you can't have Charlotte Flair win the women's title 32 fucking times.
I mean, I hear there's going to be a Queen of the Ring tournament this year, along with the King of the Ring. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, aside from that stupid ass finish, there were some clunky moments in there, but there were also some fantastic counter wrestling, especially from Nikki A.S.H, who should be praised so much for everything she's doing.
I don't want this to be the end for her.
No, I don't think it will be. I think she'll get back into the title hunt sooner rather than later. But I honestly gave this 3.5. I thought it was a very good triple threat. Not the best one I've ever seen, obviously, but I mean, still some solid work. Not bad.
Yeah.
So, but
from what it sounds like, it was a very solid match.
Yeah. I'd recommend anybody go back and watch it. But not before
I'm going to go back and watch it.
Not before everybody rewatches this next dream match that we're going to discuss. I've been waiting so long to see this. Edge going one-on-one with Seth Rollins. At this point in the show, before this match, I was like, something's got to come out here and save this pay-per-view and take this sour taste out of my mouth. Well, that's exactly what Edge and Seth Rollins did in this match. This was my match of the night, personally, just a spoiler.
You talk about 7 years in the making. This match is 7 years in the making. Good on WWE for calling back to when Seth Rollins threatened to kill Edge. By curb stomping him.
And it was
when he had a broken neck on Monday Night Raw.
Set up a brilliant narrative here. Edge wants to avoid the curb stomp. Seth Rollins wants to hit the curb stomp and end Edge's career. Brilliant. Loved it. But speaking of brilliance, I gotta talk about first off, Seth Rollins' obnoxious drip. I have no fucking clue what that was. Like, it was just sparkly Velveteen Dream-esque almost, and he was so.
Why did Rollins choose to be a matador? We're in Vegas bullfighting.
That's what it was. Matador. Okay, I see. But
what's the correlation? I'm going not to think about it too much.
I mean, Edge was embracing his darker side. He's turning his blood black. He gave Seth Rollins a Brood-esque bloodbath the night before on SmackDown. And wouldn't you fucking know it, Edge comes out through the fire in a tribute to the Brood before Metalingus hits the loudspeakers. Fucking loves that entrance. And that's honestly, cool. That's like, that theme song for the Brood, ironically, is one of my favorite theme songs ever. That theme song is so fucking creepy. That's the kind of stuff I like.
You would have told me Edge would have busted out his Brood gimmick for this match. Holy shit. Talk about throwback.
Yep. And also, Las Vegas, I heard you all singing Edge's lyrics. I heard you. Don't think I didn't. Because that song, everybody knows every wrestling fan, and I think and their mother knows the lyrics to Metalingus. But I'm happy to sing the song next time I see Edge live. But in any case, Edge and his 10-pack with the early advantage, and then Rollins. This is the point where Rollins starts posting Edge's neck and just battering him against the steel steps. There's your story, and they went with it. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Rollins hits a sling blade even, and nobody really sells the neck off of the sling blade. That's what Edge did. It was awesome. It was really awesome.
Match, the best way to describe it was this was the perfect example of storytelling and wrestling that we got out of tonight.
Yeah.
There was another match on the show that did excellent storytelling, but I think this match outshined it for the wrestling.
Absolutely.
Because you want to talk about bringing out all the biggest hits. They brought out all the biggest hits for this match.
They sure did, including the evil voice of Seth Rollins, where he was like, "How's that neck, Edge?"
God, I love when Rollins does that.
So fucking obnoxious. But
you were poking fun at this last night, but I pointed out that when Rollins did the frog splash, Pat McAfee called it a 5-star frog splash. I'm like, I think that's McAfee just trying to be cute. When they showed the replay, no, Rollins did a 5-star frog splash.
That was
the only person other than RVD I've seen attempt that move.
No, that was like Rollins hitting a 6-star frog splash just to rub it in Van Dam's face. But
the height and the impact of that frog splash.
Okay.
Other than Montez Ford, Rollins and Ford, best frog splash in the business right now.
I wonder how pissed off Van Dam was when he saw that. He was like, "Okay, I guess I'm coming out of retirement to fight Seth Rollins, whatever, dude." But Edge, I mean, the treatment of the curb stomp in this match, it was almost like a chess match. Rollins is setting up for it. Edge both times rolls out of the way. And Rollins is like, and then he's like, you think you're going to escape me, Edge? Whatever.
Rollins is so good at that storytelling.
Yeah. But then Edge hits a super swinging neck breaker off the top rope, because in an Edge match, I have to do a Tony Chimmel tribute right there. But there was a really nice transition into an execution, which Michael Cole properly called the execution and not the impaler.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Absolutely.
And then Edge, with a tribute to his wife, it's the Glam Slam. That was so freaking cool.
It really was.
I pointed out, I don't think I've ever seen a male use a female's finisher like that before. So that was really freaking cool to see Edge use the Glam Slam.
I was waiting for Seth Rollins to pull out the disarm her. But again,
exactly.
Again, this is exactly my point. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch in kayfabe, character-wise, should be kept as far away from each other as humanly possible, because people loathe Seth Rollins. They love Becky Lynch.
Yeah, unless they're both heel or face, you can't have them together.
No. But there was one point, so a draping neck breaker by Rollins. Edge hits an Edge-o-matic at one point. Rollins does the deal, but then Edge does something that makes me scream like bloody murder out of fear. Edge spears Seth Rollins off the apron to the outside. Holy shit, how did Edge not paralyze himself? Holy shit.
Edge is really, really pulling out of the stop since he came back.
Yeah.
He is not. Has no fear now.
Yes, Edge goes for a spear. Rollins beautifully transitions that, counters into a pedigree, catches the spear into a pedigree.
Money in the Bank 2016 when he beat Roman Reigns with that move for the WWE title.
And Michael Cole was like, I don't know if I've ever seen that type of pedigree before.
Yes, you have.
And I'm like,
yes, you have.
You literally fucking forgot about what Rollins did 5 years ago. Like, come on, bro. Come on. And then he calls Seth Rollins' top rope move that he went for a corkscrew moonsault, but it's clearly a Phoenix Splash.
The Phoenix Splash.
That's what it is, Michael Cole. Call it correctly. But then Edge hits the spear. Thought that was it. No. You get more moves out of this. So the crowd was really into this match at this point, despite the more methodical first half. I've got a bone to pick with the people who disliked this match because it was too slow in the beginning. That was Edge's mantra, throughout his whole comeback. He's been very methodical in the opening stages of his matches.
Yeah, my tune definitely changed about this match after hearing more and more about it. And I'm going to go back and watch it again.
Me too.
I'm going to watch this whole pay-per-view again. But no, this was match of the night.
Edge catched the curb stomp, and keep in mind, Seth Rollins never hits a curb stomp in this match, which is awesome. He catches the stomp, and then he pulls off what I think may be Tomas's favorite submission move now, despite how excited he was when he saw this. What was it?
The Educator.
Yep, he loves that move.
The Educator is a move that Edge used for a tiny little bit in 2005, and I feel like I just feel so happy whenever he uses it because it's such a unique take on the sharpshooter. And then in my shocker of the night, he transitions into his other new favorite finisher, the crossface.
The crippler crossface. Yep.
He turns it across and he makes Rollins tap out.
Yep.
I did not think Edge was going to win by submission.
Seth Rollins taps out to Edge clean in the middle of the ring. This was a win that Edge certainly needed after losing all year, aside from the Royal Rumble match where he ran the table. But, I mean, this is a 4.25 star match for me. This was for sure the match of the night. I don't know if I'd
match. Yep.
I don't know if I'd go as far as saying this is a SummerSlam classic yet. Can you?
I think you could. This was
maybe
easily the best match of the night.
Yeah, give it another year, and I'll see if this is still holding up as a instant classic. But bravo to both of these guys. These two, I could tell that they've been wanting to work with each other for a while, and Seth Rollins must have thought this was impossible, but he got to work with the guy he's always compared to.
I really hope this is not the only match they have.
I
want this feud to continue.
No, I don't think so. I think Seth Rollins may potentially get his win back at Extreme Rules next month, if possible. If Edge wants to work Extreme Rules, that is. Maybe they put them in a cage.
I'm sure Edge is willing to work any show.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't want to work Crown Jewel. Take the day off, Edge. Take the day off.
He probably is. He probably is working Crown Jewel. But
make up a rumor. Say Lyric has a dentist appointment that day. Sorry, can't be there. Why can't Beth drive? Because I can't be there.
I can't be there. Nope, not doing it.
Nope.
But then we cut to the Miz and Johnny Drip in the ring. And this was kind of your cool down before your 2 world title matches. And
I see what you did there.
This is, literally a cool down because they are literally in Las Vegas. And Johnny Drip is talking about how they have the, I don't know what the fuck they called it, but it was like the Drip Stick 2000, I think is what they called it.
So let me explain this. There's actually a funny relevance to this segment. So they were saying that this audience looks a little too dry. So I was listening to Good Mike Works review of SummerSlam. He was there. He was at Allegiant Stadium. And he said that he went to go get a beer and the system was down. So nobody could get alcohol in the stadium. So it was funny how Morrison said, this crowd looks a little too dry. And he said, oh, yeah, there's a reason why, because none of us can get a drink around here.
Yeah, no, that's
so Morrison was giving shit to the crowd.
I mean, not that it mattered. I don't drink, so I'm assuming a lot of people were so frustrated with Allegiant Stadium because of that. But
apparently, so I thought that was funny that Morrison happened to say that. I was like, yeah.
So I don't know
what did I say.
I was just saying, I don't know how they misplaced the Drip Stick 2000 because Xavier Woods comes out without Kofi Kingston somehow, and he's coming out in a Scott Hall Wolfpack cosplay, and he's got a big, gigantic water cooler on his back, and he's carrying the big drip stick, and I'm like, how the fuck does Johnny Drip Drip misplace that? How? How does he do that?
And all I said was, if I was in Las Vegas, I would love nothing more than for Xavier Woods to come spray me with water because it's probably so fucking hot over there.
Yeah, listen, in a vacuum, this segment was funny, for sure. But a vacuum, this ain't. SummerSlam 2021 is no vacuum. It just added time that was unnecessary to the pay-per-view. Like, it really, I mean, it's probably going to be paid off on Raw tonight, but one other thing.
If you, this pay-per-view was 4 hours and 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Take away the backstage segments, take away the Olympic segment, we'll get to that in a minute. Take away the random Nakamura entrance, and you could have shaved a good 30 to 45 minutes off this pay-per-view.
The Olympic stuff was actually after the Becky stuff, I think. I totally skipped over that.
Forgot to even bring it up.
I totally skipped over that. I'm so sorry. But the two Olympic gold medalists for Team USA in freestyle wrestling, men's and women's, one of the men's gold medalist is Gable Steveson, who apparently is a lifelong WWE fan, and there was a picture of him with the lunatic backstage.
Did they sign him?
I think they did. I don't know.
I think he signed to NXT, so we might be seeing him sooner rather than later.
Yeah, my only
Apparently
thing is
he's known for doing a stick-ass backfoot, and they wanted him to do it at SummerSlam, but he didn't.
My only thing is never put him with this chick that he walked out with because she had way more charisma than he did. Bless their hearts. But yeah, never do that. Just keep them as far away from each other as humanly possible. But speaking of two guys who should be kept as far away from each other as possible, Tomas, it's probably your favorite match on the show. Yep.
Goldberg versus Lashley for the WWE Championship.
Goldberg!
It's that time of the year, folks. It's that time of the year. What time of the year are you talking about? It's time for me to have a fucking anxiety attack over whether or not they're going to put the WWE title on Goldberg. Nobody wants to see Goldberg as the WWE champion in 2021.
No.
Nobody. Absolutely nobody. And
nobody in that stadium.
He's a two-time Universal Champion now.
He really is. The crowd, none of this crowd wanted to see Goldberg take this belt home. The crowd was fully behind Lashley from the opening bell, who it might have been because Lashley was wearing Las Vegas Raiders colors on his gear. I don't know if you noticed that, but
let me
silver
ask
and black.
Something. What's Goldberg known for?
Short squash matches.
Yes. What did Goldberg try to do in this match?
He tried to fucking wrestle like he did in 2003, and it didn't work.
So
I
was scared from the get-go because how have Goldberg matches started off in the past? Someone goes for a quick finisher.
Yep.
Someone does something quick, and you have that feeling of, oh shit, this isn't going to last long. But when they started like sizing each other up, I was like, oh shit, they're going to try and wrestle this thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was a mistake from the get-go.
It really was. By the way, shout out to the guy sitting in the floor section who had a sign that said Vince likes large men. And that's why this match went on. I'm like, well, I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. But, the crowd, fully behind Bobby Lashley for sure. The crowd was cheering MVP for pulling Lashley out of the way and running interference. And, you should just cheer MVP anyway because MVP's the man. But, this almost, we just talked about Triple H versus Scott Steiner at the Royal Rumble. The crowd was cheering for Ric Flair running interference. Same exact thing here. They were cheering MVP.
But at least the champion was over. At least they wanted to see Lashley win.
Yeah, that's true.
I start getting scared when they go to the outside and Goldberg hits a spear on Lashley, but before he does that, I'm screaming at MVP saying, take the bullet, MVP, take the bullet. Whatever it takes. I want Goldberg to win.
Get Bobby Lashley disqualified. Please do it. But, it's... So there was a point where Goldberg was hit with the cane and there was a delayed sell to the knee. And Lashley.
Real quick, before we get into that point, do we want to talk about how Goldberg almost paralyzed Lashley?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no. Yeah, describe this. Because I said, I just wrote down Lashley almost landed on his head. And I don't remember how.
Goldberg threw him off the top rope, and he didn't give full momentum so Lashley could fall on his back. He just tilted him and dropped him. And Lashley barely had enough time to avoid landing on his neck.
See why you never put Goldberg in long matches, Vince? See? You know, but I didn't think we were going to talk about a match where Goldberg tried to wrestle until at least November. Like,
nope,
until at least November. But
here we are.
Goldberg's knee was getting worked over, and there was a point where the poor guy couldn't even stand. And then it gets to the point where the ref was like, you know what? That's it. Ring the bell. Goldberg cannot continue. And I'm sure Tomas was happy as a...
So disappointing.
Well,
you can at least let Goldberg get up and put him in the Hurt Lock.
Why are you disappointed? Lashley retained.
For a million reasons why. Number one, it wasn't in a decisive fashion. I feel like Lashley didn't really look this strong out of this match.
Yep.
Number two, this match was terrible.
Yeah.
Straight up terrible.
This match gets no stars.
Number three.
This match gets no stars.
Going into the aftermath of this match, number three, you just opened the door for a fucking rematch.
They did, because what happened was, by the way, if you didn't hear me already, this match gets 0 stars. Kind of lame. I guess it kind of put Lashley over as a killer because he beat the fuck out of him. But again, what was wrong with ending it with the Hurt Lock or the full Lashley on him?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, man. But
and then you open the floodgates for a rematch.
You do, because first of all, the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Bobby." I laughed and I laughed and I laughed. And I laughed even more when Goldberg's teenage son put a sleeper hold on Bobby Lashley. And then Lashley chucks him off his shoulders and then locks him in the Hurt Lock. And then Goldberg, can't make the save. And MVP gets on the mic and he's like, "There was no way that Lashley could have known that was your son." And I'm like...
You know what?
Ow.
That doesn't justify it, though. Goldberg, your son should know better than to jump on Lashley's back.
Where was the security to hold Gorg's son back? You know?
I'm just real quick. Explain Gorg.
Yeah, so Gorg, everybody who is in the building knows this inside joke, but they cut to the video of Goldberg walking, as he does from the locker room during his entrance, and it cuts off his name on the LED, so it just says Gorg in big gold letters, similar to how Big Cass walked out. His head was covering up the C. You fill in the gaps.
Big ass.
Big ass. Yep.
And then but yeah, and then Goldberg, I'm gonna kill no, and I'm like, oh god, we're gonna see a rematch, are we? And I was thinking, well, I guess you could take the title off of Lashley before WrestleMania, and you could have the rematch of WrestleMania. But no, time to get even more depressed, because what does WWE announce? In October, they're going back to Saudi Arabia.
Fuck this! Crown Jewel! No!
It's happening again.
It really is. Roman Reigns is in the main event with somebody in Crown Jewel. But I mean, before we get into that, we're burying the lead here. Our main event of SummerSlam, Roman Reigns was apparently wrestling himself. He was wrestling nobody.
There was nobody in the ring.
Because you can't see him. Roman Reigns versus John Cena for the Universal Championship. Goddamn, John Cena's Super Mario gear is clean.
It was really cool. And the 16 world titles on the back, and on the LED, all of the dates of every single world championship you won. That was really cool.
Keep in mind, it was all an 8-bit as well. It just looks like John Cena went full Super Mario, or dare I say, Super Cena. Get it?
Damn.
He's in on the joke.
Get it.
Cena's in on the joke. Tomas finally
the only thing is, though,
understands it.
I think it would be cool if they put the names of the champions he beat, but I don't think WWE wants to do that, because they would have to put Alberto and CM Punk on there a couple of times.
No.
Yeah. The dates in the title was fine enough.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's close enough. But these two actually previously met at No Mercy 2017, which is a show I was actually thinking about going to, but didn't pull the trigger. Roman won that meeting, and but
this is an entirely different scenario now.
Yes,
we have the 16-time world champion, just fresh off of his big return, versus the head of the table.
And you will acknowledge me. If I lose this match, I will leave WWE.
You know what?
Jay and Jimmy in check.
I think WWE scrapped that because they didn't mention that at all during this match. Thank God.
They really did not mention that, because I was like, fuck the predictability of this stipulation. But this was a very, very good main event. I would say, I mean, it's not, I'd say, see, this match is interesting because I really, really liked it. I don't really think it's up there with like the classic SummerSlam main events of like Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog in '92, or fuck, what else? Like, I'm trying to think of SummerSlam main events right now. Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels in 2005, classic for different
Benoit
reasons.
versus Orton.
Benoit versus Orton was a great match, absolutely. But these two went out there, and this was another thing where, similar to Edge and Rollins, they went out there and they put on their greatest hits. And John Cena was such a troll in the early going of this match. He was doing a whole bunch of inside cradles. He kept going 1, 2, 3. That's all I need.
Here's the story that Cena was telling, which I really appreciated. Over the years, we've noticed that Cena gets the absolute shit kicked out of him, and no matter what, he wins. Mm-hmm. So Cena was trying to get into Reigns' head by saying, I don't need to out-wrestle you. I don't need to kick your ass. All I need to do is pin you.
1, 2, 3. Yep.
That's all it takes. And I also appreciated the detail in the beginning of the match. Have you noticed in every single one of Reigns' title defenses, Reigns has the psychological edge.
He does.
He has that, you know, I'm the head of the table. I'm going to beat you
Acknowledge me.
Yeah. I'm going to beat you into submission. I beat the hell out of my own cousin. You know, what makes you think I'm not going to destroy Kevin Owens and Cesaro and Daniel Bryan and Edge? But in this match, Reigns didn't have that psychological edge. No. Cena was not intimidated by him. And in a way, Cena had the psychological edge because Cena had nothing to lose in this match, and Reigns had everything to gain.
Yes, absolutely. But I would like to praise Roman Reigns for, I mean, still having that methodical snail's pace at the beginning. He is such a brilliant heel. Like, this is the Roman Reigns that I've been wanting for a long, long time. I mean, we've had him for over a year now. But, I mean, because keep in mind, the head of the table officially emerged at SummerSlam last year in the Thunderdome. And that's where everything started for him. And it was all uphill. But, I mean, what a visual of Roman just taunting the fans with his title, standing on his perch. And he was like, acknowledge me. And the crowd is booing him and he's feeding into it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was at this point I kind of noticed where the inside cradles were getting kind of repetitive. Like, John Cena had done
it's like my biggest criticism of this match is that over the years recently, we've seen Cena really turn it up, doing flip power bombs and doing pile drivers and all these moves were not. Cena was not, you know, I don't want to say Cena was lazy in this match.
No.
But he kind of stuck to the 5 moves of doom.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a jackknife cover, and then Roman hit a Superman punch, which eventually led it to the 5-knuckle shuffle. Cena hits the AA, false finish, of course, because everybody kicks out of the AA. STF, Reigns gets to the ropes. They're fighting outside for a little bit. Reigns hits a drive-by, but then Cena hits another AA attitude adjustment through the announce table. And Cena's like, you know, collecting. This is what I found so funny about John Cena in this match. Not just because he was trolling at the beginning, but Michael Cole screams at him, "Come on, John!" And then Cena perked up when he heard that. He was like, "Oh."
That was a fun kind of like jab at professional wrestling tropes. Because if you notice, and when a big spot like that happens, they sell it for a couple minutes. Cena was like, "Wait, what the hell am I doing? I need to go back in the ring now."
Yes, and then there was a point where John Cena hits Roman Reigns with a super attitude adjustment off the top rope, similar to how AJ Styles kicked out of the Super AA 5 years ago. Roman Reigns also kicks out.
I thought that was the finish. If there was one thing Reigns was doing very well in this match, he was kicking out at the very last second. There were so many good false finishes.
Oh, it was so close. Yeah, it was so close to history, 17 world titles, which I do think Cena's going to get at some point, but obviously it wasn't at SummerSlam because, you know, the head of the table was just too much for him to overcome. It got to a point where John Cena was doing the, ooh, ah, mocking Roman. What a visual there. Like,
when he did that, I immediately got WrestleMania 28 vibes. I'm like, oh, Cena, you know how that worked out with you with The Rock,
nope.
And it ended up biting him in the ass again.
It did.
Because
but
Reigns hits the Superman punch.
Before then, though, I would like to point out that there were the boo yeah punches where, you know, we really saw the hate for John Cena back in the day. Those were completely reversed. The boo yeah punches, I was like, this is fucking surreal. It's 2021. CM Punk just came back last night, and John Cena is getting cheered on these dueling punches. Like, am I sitting here in Bizarro world now?
Yeah.
Like, this is so strange. But yeah, to your point, yeah, finish of the match. Take it away.
Yep. After that, Reigns hits the Superman punch. Reigns hit the spear. And to my surprise, Reigns retains. He is still the head of the table. He is still the Universal Champion. And even though I was surprised, this was the right call.
Beat John Cena clean as a whistle.
Yep. Even though I thought it would have been really cool and it would have made a lot of sense for Cena to get number 17 here, Reigns' momentum continues, and Reigns just adds another name to his hit list.
Yep.
He has beaten so many people, and you know what? And you know me, I'm never against a long title reign continuing.
No.
And then because after next Sunday, Reigns is going to be 1 year as champion.
365 days.
And honestly, I hope it keeps going. But here's the thing, you know, it just keeps getting worse for Reigns because after Money in the Bank, here's the thing. After Hell in a Cell, Reigns had to face Edge, who returned to SmackDown. He beat Edge, and then he had to face John Cena, who returned at Money in the Bank. Not 30 seconds after this match goes off, Brock Lesnar comes out.
Mountain Man Brock Lesnar with big freaking beard, and he's got a ponytail. He looks kind of like a member of Sanity walking out there. I didn't think it was possible for Brock to get even bigger in his time off.
But he did.
He
ate a goddamn cow out in the wilderness.
Fucking gigantic. He looks like he fucking just chopped down a redwood in his backyard in Saskatchewan, and then he flew over to Vegas, and then he's like, oh, he's going to confront Roman Reigns.
He jumped like the Hulk. He just launched himself into the sky.
No stairs!
At Allegiant Stadium.
Brock, no stairs! You know, but yeah. Brock Lesnar. Yeah. Brock Lesnar comes in. There was a loud pop. I'm not going to lie. I popped for Brock Lesnar. I mean, like, say what you want about his part-time schedule, but, like, Brock Lesnar.
It was cool to see him.
It was really, really cool to see him.
Our break. We got our very much needed break from Brock Lesnar over a year.
Yep.
Last time we saw him was Performance Center Mania. He dropped the title to Drew McIntyre.
Yes, sir.
He needed the break. We needed the break. And you know what? I am ready for Lesnar to be back.
And look at what Paul Heyman has done. He is smack dab in the middle. He looks like he's seen a ghost. And, like, now he's got to pick a side. Interesting storytelling here.
This is the monster he created. And, you know, his monster is back.
And there it is.
I don't want to take a shit all over this parade, but people have been saying Brock Lesnar is going to take that blood money, and we could see this match at Crown Jewel.
Yep, that's what I said. I'm thinking Roman Reigns. I'm thinking Roman Reigns is going to defend against somebody at Extreme Rules in the build up to Brock at Crown Jewel. I mean, like, ideally, like, not ideally. I don't know if Brock's going to beat Roman, but like, it could be either way at Survivor Series. Bobby Lashley is probably still going to be the WWE champion at Survivor Series. So it's between Roman and it's between the guy he's always wanted to face, Brock Lesnar. He didn't get Brock Lesnar.
Or Lashley Lesnar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So one of those two. That's what we're expecting here through the fall. But SummerSlam was a weird show. It was the best of WWE and the worst of WWE.
After talking about it at this length, I can't go higher than a 6.75. There was some good moments. There was a really, really, really good match in Edge and Rollins. Everything else either was bad, all right, or didn't live up. I enjoyed Reigns and Cena, but it didn't live up.
I think I can't go higher than a 7. 6.75 is probably like realistically what I'm thinking of giving the show, because yeah, Edge and Rollins was an instant
Oh yeah,
classic.
Reigns and Cena. I can't go harder than a 3.5.
I gave Reigns and Cena a 4. So I mean, it was a
maybe a little more
solid match.
What's the word I'm looking for? Creative offense from Cena, and I would have been a little more nice to it. But
That's
Cena
fair.
stuck to the plan in this match.
Yeah,
you know, and it was cool to see Cena wrestle again.
It really was.
Apparently, this is the end for him. He was just here for SummerSlam.
Just here
we're
for
not going to see him
SummerSlam.
again.
He's going off to continue filming the Peacemaker HBO Max exclusive series, and he's also got a murder mystery called Argyle that he's working on. I can't remember the name of the director, but
this might be the end of Cena for 2021. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, and if we don't see him until Royal Rumble time, possibly WrestleMania time.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited to have you all along for the ride here. We are in the build-up. Thank you all so much, by the way. I didn't thank you guys properly on video for helping me surpass 700 on the channel in terms of subs. Now we're in the build-up. Hopefully, let's see if we can reach 1,000 by the end of the year. I think we can do it. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button as hard as you possibly can. Hit that thumbs up button as well. Expect Tomas and I to be back once again with TakeOver 36. We got to talk about Mania 19. Also, don't think we forgot about the retro playlist. And yeah, looks like we're going to be hanging out together for All Out. So it sounds like it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
With that said, folks, commence that back talk. See you guys for the next one.